Psalm 82 opens with a courtroom scene. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty, he judgeth among the gods. Psalm 82, verse 1. The word translated gods here is used elsewhere for the true God, but also for human judges who exercise God-given authority. This verse pictures God presiding over Israel's own judges, those appointed to rule with his authority. He does not stand at a distance. He stands in the assembly, watching how his delegated authority gets used. Every earthly judge and every person entrusted with power over others answers to this presiding God. Authority is never self-generated. It is always borrowed, and the lender reserves the right to review its use. Jesus references this very verse in John 10, verse 34, defending his claim to divine sonship by pointing out that Scripture already calls human judges gods, because they carry God's delegated authority. The passage establishes a principle that runs through both testaments. Those who judge on earth serve as God's representatives, and their conduct falls under his direct scrutiny. Verse 2 turns from the courtroom setting to God's direct charge against the judges themselves. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Selah. Psalm 82, verse 2. God asks how long, not whether, exposing a pattern that has continued too long. These judges show partiality toward the wicked, favoring those with wealth or status over those without either. Justice bent by bribery or favoritism is justice destroyed. God's question carries weight because he established these judges to reflect his own character, and instead they have become instruments of the very oppression they prevented. This charge exposes a timeless failure. Judges who twist judgment for personal gain or social convenience betray the office. Scripture condemns this corruption, from the warnings against taking bribes to the prophets who thundered against courts that sold justice to the highest bidder. God's patience with corrupt judgment is not endless. His question, how long, signals that a reckoning approaches. Verse 3 shifts from accusation to command, detailing what righteous judgment requires. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Psalm 82, verse 3. God names 4 categories of vulnerable people: the poor, the fatherless, the afflicted, and the needy. These groups share one trait: they lack the power to defend themselves in court. God commands judges to defend and do justice, not just refrain from harm. Justice here is not passive neutrality, but active advocacy for those without means to advocate for themselves. This command reflects God's own character in Scripture. He identifies himself as defender of the fatherless and widow, as seen in Deuteronomy 10, verse 18. When human judges defend the vulnerable, they mirror God's own justice. When they neglect this duty, they misrepresent him. Verse 4 intensifies the command with more forceful language. Deliver the poor and needy, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. Psalm 82, verse 4. The word deliver implies rescue from danger, not just fair treatment in a hearing. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked pictures the poor as captives needing extraction from oppressors who hold them in a grip. Judges are called to intervene against wickedness, not to referee disputes from a neutral distance. God's command demands action against injustice, positioning judges as instruments of rescue for those crushed under the weight of corrupt power.